now discussing the three-sector economy model by including the government sector. When we include the government sector, aggregate demand equation is expanded to include G, the expenditure or purchases by the government. And the new equation for the economy will be AD is equal to C plus I plus G. And this is given in equation number 11.20, which is just before you. We are going to expand this equation, and from this equation C is equal to C bar plus YD, where C bar is autonomous consumption, YD is disposable income. This disposable income is equal to Y minus TA or taxes plus transfers. So transfers are added to the national income, taxes are deducted from the national income. So this is how we get the consumption function, shown by equation number 11.21. Here G is assumed to be constant, which is equal to G bar. Transfers is also assumed to be constant, which is equal to TR bar. Taxes are assumed to be function of income, which is small t into Y. And so T is equal to C bar plus small c within bracket Y plus transfers minus TY. This can be written as C bar plus small c into TR bar plus C within bracket 1 minus T into Y. We all know that taxes reduce the income of the people, which reduce the consumption of the households, whereas transfers increase the same. That is why transfers are added to the income and taxes are deducted from the income. Now, when we combine the various equations explained so far, 11.20, 22 and 23, what we get is AD is equal to C bar plus CTR bar plus I bar plus G bar plus C within bracket 1 minus T into Y. Now here autonomous or fixed portion has been taken in another bracket, which together will give us autonomous expenditure or autonomous demand. So aggregate demand is equal to autonomous demand plus C within bracket 1 minus T into Y. This is equation number 11.24. Now this can be shown in the form of diagram, and this is shown in figure number 11.5, where income is shown by 45-degree line, like what we discussed in the previous two-sector economy case. And aggregate demand for two-sector economy is C bar plus I bar plus small c into Y, which is same as A bar plus C into Y. And new aggregate demand by including the government expenditure and transfers will be given by new aggregate demand AD dash. And here the difference between the previous y-intercept and the new y-intercept is given by G bar plus small c into TR bar, which you see in this diagram 11.5. This shows that when government sector is included, the intercept on the y-axis takes place at a higher level, and the slope of the aggregate demand decreases, because by including the government sector, taxes reduce the disposable income and hence consumption. So the effective marginal propensity to consume declines, reducing the slope of the new aggregate demand curve AD dash in figure 11.5. When we discuss aggregate demand, aggregate supply by including government sector, where we are also showing taxes and transfers. Now in equation form, you can take y outside the bracket. Within bracket you will get 1 minus c, within bracket 1 minus t, and so you will get on the right hand side a bar, that is going to be new autonomous expenditure by including government. And this new autonomous expenditure will be C bar plus small c TR bar plus I bar plus G bar. So new equilibrium level of national income will be A bar divided by 1 minus C within bracket 1 minus T. Now we discuss another important concept, that is automatic stabilizer. We all know that whenever people get income, they are able to consume more, they are able to spend more. This leads to fluctuations in the economy, in the consumption, demand, and income. Automatic stabilizer actually bring about stability in the economy. We all know that by having more income, the demand and consumption rise, and by imposition of taxes, the income level is reduced to some extent. So we can say that income tax or proportional income tax in this particular case serves as an important concept of automatic stabilizer. So we can say automatic stabilizer is a mechanism that reduces the output in response to change in the autonomous demand. So well student, in this case, the demand, income and output is rising because of more income. But because of proportional income tax, some of the increased income or output is reduced. So this concept of introduction of income tax in the proportional form causes stability in the economy in an automatic manner. So we can say proportional income tax serves as automatic stabilizer. We can also give, you can say, some other explanation for business cycle. We all know that investors are optimistic and investment is high, leading to more output, but sometimes they are pessimistic, and so both investment and output are low. Now these swings in the investment demand will have lesser effect on the output when automatic stabilizer like proportional income tax is operating in the economy. This proportional income tax reduces the value of multiplier. You have studied in the previous lecture that investment multiplier in the two sector economy is given by 1 upon 1 minus C. But in the three sector economy, the value of this multiplier gets reduced, so there is proportionately less increase in income or output. So this is on account of stabilizing effect of proportional income tax. let us study the effect of change in government purchases. And for this purpose, we have a new equation which is given on page number 218. And that shows delta y is equal to delta g plus c within bracket 1 minus t into delta y. Well, student, in the one of the previous equation, you have studied that from national income determination equation, we can find out the change in delta y. This we did for the two-sector economy in our previous lecture. Now the same can be done for three-sector economy, and it will be equal to delta y is equal to delta g bar plus c within bracket 1 minus t into delta y. Now here the remaining terms, that is I, investment expenditure, transfer, TR, they will all disappear because there will be change in only government expenditure and there will not be any change in the other variables. So delta y will become equal to delta g bar plus c within bracket 1 minus t into delta y. And from this equation, delta y is equal to 1 upon 1 minus c within bracket 1 minus t into delta g bar. Now student, you remember that this equation is similar to the one that was discussed for two-sector economy. But in two-sector economy, there was no government expenditure. So instead of having delta G bar, we had delta A bar. And since there was no government in the two-sector economy, there was no taxes. So in the case of two-sector economy, the value of T is equal to 0. So the corresponding equation for two-sector economy that has already been discussed, this was delta y is equal to delta A bar divided by 1 minus c. Now here 1 upon 1 minus c within bracket 1 minus t is called as government expenditure multiplier. And you can find out the value of this government expenditure multiplier by also dividing delta y by delta g bar. So for two-sector economy, investment multiplier was delta y divided by delta A bar. That was discussed in the previous class. And for three-sector economy, government expenditure multiplier is given by delta y divided by delta g bar. And it is symbolically expressed by symbol A, G, or to be more precise, it is alpha G, government expenditure multiplier. And the same can be understood by looking at the figure 11.6, where we have shown the effect of increase in government purchases. Here 45-degree line is showing aggregate output. And aggregate demand in the initial situation is given by A bar plus C within bracket 1 minus T into Y. That is for initial autonomous expenditure is equal to A bar. When the government expenditure is increased, the new autonomous expenditure will be given by A bar dash. And so new aggregate demand will be equal to A dash bar plus C within bracket 1 minus T into Y. The gap or the difference between these two parallel lines showing the aggregate demand in the two situations before and after the change in the government expenditure shows the change in government expenditure, which is equal to delta G bar. So alpha G, which is government expenditure multiplier, it is given by delta Y upon delta G. It is equal to 1 upon 1 minus C within bracket 1 minus T. And this is given in equation number 11.27. Now you will easily able to understand that the value of multiplier is decreased in this situation by including the government expenditure on account of the reduction of disposable income because of proportional income tax. Now suppose MPC is equal to 0.8 and income tax small t is equal to 0.25. Given the tax rate of 0.25 or 25%, we find that the multiplier is 2.5. That means for every 1 rupee increase in the government spending, equilibrium income will rise by 2 rupees and 50 paisa. Now the same multiplier in the absence of the government expenditure, hence in the absence of the taxes, would have been simply 1 upon 1 minus C, that is 5. So we find that the multiplier value gets reduced, or we can say the increase in the output or income on account of the presence of the government is reduced. So here proportional tax rate will be considered as automatic stabilizer because it is reducing the change in output or income. And this is precisely what we are studying in the next subtopic, effects of income tax change. So it is clear that income tax reduces the multiplier value from 5 to 2.5, assuming the tax rate of 0.25 or 25%. Figure number 11.7 is showing the effect of decrease in tax rate. Now here the initial aggregate demand is A bar plus C within bracket 1 minus Ty. When the tax rate get reduced, the consumption and hence income is going to rise. And so the new aggregate demand is shown by the curve AD dash, which is having greater slope and it is relatively steeper. And the new point of equilibrium takes place at point E dash in comparison to the initial equilibrium point P. So we find that a reduction in income tax rate leaves the consumer with larger proportion of every rupee of income that is earned. That means when tax rate increases, consumer is able to spend less, whereas when the income tax rate decreases, the consumer will be able to spend more income. And the new consumption graph as well as aggregate demand curve will be having greater slope. It is going to be corresponding to higher level of income at equilibrium point. And we all know that the equilibrium point is at the level where aggregate demand curve and aggregate supply curve intersect each other. And every such equilibrium point is arrived at only on the 45-degree line. That is why this 45-degree line is also being shown as AD is equal to Y. The remaining portion of this subsection, about which you have equation 11.28 and 11.29, have been deleted from the current reading list, so I am omitting the same from the discussion. And it is also given in the book, that is these starred marked questions and portions are optional and these can be studied only for conceptual understanding. Now the way we discuss the impact of income tax, government expenditure, we can also study the effect of increased transfer payment. So when transfer payments increases, the autonomous demand is also rising by C times delta TR, where delta TR shows the change in transfers and small c indicates the marginal propensity to consume. So increase in transfer payment increases the income by C times increase in the government purchases of goods. So the multiplier for transfer payment is smaller in comparison to the government spending, because part of the increase in transfer is saved by the people. So well student, if you look at the national income equation, you will find that whenever the government is giving transfers to the people of the country, the change in autonomous demand is governed by marginal propensity to consume, and since marginal propensity to consume is generally smaller than 1, so the multiplier of transfer payment is smaller than for government spending. We will study more about transfer multiplier in the next chapter, which is the most important chapter from the whole introductory macroeconomics topics. Now, before proceeding to the next subsection, I'm going to give you implications of the multiplier in the 3-sector economy. And these implications are given in a box which is before you. The first implication is the government purchases and transfer payments both act like increase in autonomous spending when we study their effects on the equilibrium income. But as I've already pointed out, the effect of the government purchase is more, but the effect of transfer payment is relatively less, depending upon the marginal propensity to consume. Because whenever the government spends income, equal amount of income is created, because the expenditure by the government becomes a source of income for the people. But when the government provides transfer payments, the effect on the income is indirect, depending upon the marginal propensity to consume. Second point, proportional income tax reduces the proportion of each extra rupee of output that consumer receives in the form of disposable income. And its effects is similar to the effect of reduction in the proportion to consume. So that means whenever tax is imposed, in a way, the marginal propensity to consume gets reduced because it leads to reduction in the disposable income of the people. Third point, lesser is the propensity to spend, flatter is the aggregate demand. We all know that slope of aggregate demand curve is given by propensity to spend. So if propensity to spend is less for the people of the country, the demand will rise at a lesser rate. It will have less slope, so it will become flatter, and vice versa. And accordingly, the size of the multiplier will also be affected in the same direction. And the last point is reduction in transfers reduces the equilibrium output. And this is something we have just studied, that if there is more transfer, output level in the equilibrium rises. And when transfers are reduced, there will be reduction in the equilibrium output. And how much output will decrease or increase, it further depends on the value of marginal propensity to consume. We have next subtopic, budget. The budget of the government generally has deficit, particularly for developing countries. Surpluses are very, very rare, particularly in countries like India, where there is too much expenditure to be incurred on developmental activities. So there is a serious concern of budget deficit in such countries. So even when the government keep on borrowings, it becomes difficult for private firms to borrow and invest. So this is going to reduce the growth of the economy. So that means when the government borrows too much, the private sector will not have adequate amount to be borrowed and to be invested because the total resources are limited. On the next page, we give the equation of the budget surplus. This is equation number 11.30, wherein budget surplus is given as the difference of taxes, TA, and government expenditure and transfers on the other hand. So budget surplus is equal to TA minus G bar minus TR bar. Whenever this budget surplus is positive, that means the revenue of the government exceeds in comparison to the purchases or expenditure by the government. But when budget surplus is negative, that means there is excess of expenditure or transfers over the taxes. And this situation is called as the situation of budget deficit. The budget surplus equation can be rewritten as PS is equal to PY minus G bar minus T bar. TY is the total taxes, where small t stand for tax rate, Y stand for the income. So total taxes are given by the product small t and Y. Remaining two items which are deducted from taxes show the purchases, transfers, or expenditure by the government. Next figure number 11.8, we plot the budget surplus as a function of income level, where income level is shown on the horizontal axis and budget surplus is shown on the vertical axis. Budget surplus will be equal to 0 when Ty is equal to G plus TR. That means when total taxes are equal to transfers plus government purchases, the budget surplus will be 0. So this corresponds to income level OY, where budget surplus is 0, and here total taxes will be equal to G plus TR, and here we will say that our budget is in balance. But for any level of income which is less than this level, budget surplus will be negative, or we can say there will be deficit in the budget. And for any level of income which is more than this level, we will say the budget surplus will be positive. And this budget surplus will have a negative y-intercept equal to G plus TR. That means when income level is 0, budget surplus will be negative and it will be equal to G plus TR, and that shows negative y-intercept. Otherwise, in general term, we can say budget surplus is given by Ty minus G bar minus T bar, as shown in the diagram 11.8, showing the budget surplus for different levels of income. We often find that there are budget deficits in the developing countries invariably, and there are more budget deficit when there are recessions. And during such situation, we should not be surprised that we can even see budget deficit in the developed countries also. During the current scenario, the government has to incur so much expenditure and the income level is so less. So these are the periods when the government tax receipts are going to be less. And during such a recessionary phase of the economy, transfer payment through unemployment benefits also increase during the recessions, even though we are assuming that transfers are autonomous in our model. So we all know that during the current scenario, the government is giving so much importance on the transfer payments, and it may not be simply in the form of unemployment benefits, it may be in various other forms as well as. But even with these transfer payments, and even when unemployment benefits are given during recession period, we will still find that the level of income is going to be less in the economy. And this is what the present state of our economy and the present state of economies of several countries of the world is being showing. In box, we can make some concluding remarks. The budget surplus or budget deficit depends on the level of income. Given the tax rate small t, G bar, and transfers, the budget surplus is going to be very high if the income level is high. And this is we find from figure number 11.8. In this situation, the government takes lot of revenue in the form of taxes. But when the level of income is low, like what we are finding even today, there will be a budget deficit and the government tax receipts are also going to be small. Today, the government is also giving liberty to the people that they can defer payments of various tax and other such liabilities. So this is going to create the situation of budget deficit in our economy. In the next subsection, we are going to study the effect of government purchases and tax changes on the budget surplus. And that lead to the formulation of equation number 11.32, for which we have used equation number 11.27. And if you go back to that equation number 11.27, that equation is showing the value of alpha g that is the government expenditure multiplier, which is 1 upon 1 minus C within bracket 1 minus T. So we are going to use this government expenditure multiplier in the equation that we are just deriving. So I take you back to the equation we are deriving now, and this is the change in budget surplus. The change in budget surplus is given by the change in taxes and the changes in government expenditure. We are assuming that there is no change in the transfers, and so the change in budget surplus are affected only by change in taxes and the change in government expenditure. And changes in taxes are given by changes in T into Y. So changes in T into Y, and T means small t, and that small t can be taken out. So delta TA, that means delta taxes, will be equal to T into delta Y. And delta Y is given by alpha G into delta G bar. I think students are able to understand this. I have already told you that in order to derive this equation, we are using the formula of alpha G, government expenditure multiplier, that has already been discussed, which is equal to delta G divided by delta Y reciprocal, or you can say delta Y divided by delta G. So for delta Y, we can write alpha G multiplied by delta G bar. So I again repeat, delta TA, about which we are solving in the next step. Delta TA means delta small t into Y. T small is constant, it can be taken out from delta. So it is small t multiplied by delta Y. Delta Y means change in Y, change in income. And this change in income is equal to alpha G multiplied by delta G bar. Because delta Y divided by delta G bar is equal to alpha G, as given in equation number 11.27. So minus delta G bar, so you can take delta G bar common. Within bracket, you will get T alpha G minus 1. And we are now substituting the value of alpha G, that is the government expenditure multiplier, which is equal to 1 upon 1 minus C within bracket 1 minus T. Now since it is T into alpha G, so we are having T divided by 1 minus T within bracket 1 minus T minus 1. So after taking LCM, you can solve it. And when you solve it, ultimately you will get minus 1 minus C into 1 minus T divided by 1 minus T within bracket 1 minus T into delta G bar. We all know that 1 upon 1 minus C within bracket 1 minus T is government expenditure multiplier, which is always positive. 1 minus T is also positive because T is the tax rate, which cannot be more than 100%. 1 means 100%. 1 minus C is always positive because C can never exceed 1. So negative sign in equation 11.32 shows that change in budget surplus is negative. That indicates whenever there is increase in government purchases, it is going to reduce the budget surplus. So in this model, it is considerably less than the increase in the purchases. For example, if you substitute C is equal to 0.8, that means MPC being 80% or 0.8, tax rate being 0.25, then for 1 rupee increase in government purchases, reduction in surplus will be equal to 0.375 rupees. In the same way, we can study that the increase in tax rate will reduce the level of income. Now we have the next topic, balanced budget multiplier. We are about to complete this chapter. Balanced budget multiplier is a situation where the government follows the balanced budget policy on the national income. And that indicates the change in government expenditure and the change in taxes have equal impact on the equilibrium level of national income. So suppose we are changing the government spending and taxes by the same amount in the positive direction. That means we are increasing the same. And let us see what happens to the new equilibrium when there is no change in the budget. That means budget remains unchanged. And when budget remains unchanged, then the value of multiplier will be equal to 1. And we are going to explain how this happens. The reason is output rises by exactly the increase in government spending and not by greater amount. So that means when our budget is balanced, that means change in taxes and change in government expenditure is by the same amount, then output rises by exactly the increase in government spending and by not lesser or greater amount. From equation number 11.30, we come to new equation, that is change in budget surplus is equal to change in taxes minus change in government expenditure. And since our budget is balanced, so there will not be any change in budget surplus, it will be 0. This implies that change in taxes will be equal to change in government expenditure. We also know that in equilibrium, Y is equal to aggregate demand. So change in income will also be equal to change in aggregate demand. And this aggregate demand comprises of two components. So change in aggregate demand will be equal to change in government expenditure plus C multiplied by change in disposable income. This is the equation which we took up today only in the very beginning. And when we solve this, we get delta G plus C within bracket delta Y minus delta TA, because we know that disposable income YD is given by Y minus taxes. So change in disposable income will be equal to change in income minus change in taxes. We can simplify it further. We have in the next step delta G plus small c within bracket delta Y minus delta G. The reason is change in taxes will be equal to change in government expenditure because our budget is balanced. So by definition, by assumption, change in taxes will be same as change in government purchases. So we get delta Y within bracket 1 minus C, and that is same as delta G within bracket 1 minus C. So the change in income is equal to change in government expenditure, and this is same as the change in taxes. So whether you estimate the tax multiplier then or government expenditure multiplier, that means delta G upon delta Y, or vice versa, that is delta Y upon delta G, or delta Y upon delta taxes, you will get the same answer and the multiplier will be equal to 1. And this is the minimum value of multiplier. So whenever our budget is balanced, the government budget is balanced, then national income increases by the same amount as government expenditure is rising. So this is referred to as the balanced budget multiplier theorem. And this indicates that balanced budget is not physically neutral. It does affect the equilibrium level of income as well as output. But balanced budget change in government spending has mild effect on GDP, because here the multiplier value is 1. So the change in income will be same as the change in taxes or the government purchases. So this theorem, which states that balanced budget multiplier is always equal to 1, is known as balanced budget multiplier theorem. So this balanced budget multiplier is much lesser in comparison to deficit financed one, because it has the minimum value of multiplier. Student must remember that minimum value of multiplier is 1. Maximum value of multiplier can be infinity. This is something that we studied in the previous lecture. That is the first part of this chapter. Now we come to the last subsection of this chapter, which is full employment budget surplus. For which we study equation number 11.33 on the last page of the chapter. This full employment budget surplus measures the budget surplus at full employment level of income. And full employment level of income means the potential output level. And potential output level, that means you cannot go beyond this output level. It is the maximum level of output which can be achieved. And we symbolically express it by using the symbol Y star. So BS star, budget surplus star, will be equal to TY star minus G bar minus TR bar. This shows the equation corresponding to full employment level. So we can have different other names also for full employment surplus. This is also known as cyclically adjusted surplus or deficit, as the case may be. Because whenever budget surplus is negative, it is called as deficit. It is also called as high employment surplus. It is also referred to as standardized employment surplus. It is also called as structural surplus. But we generally use the term full employment surplus, that is more popular. And when you subtract equation 11.31 from equation number 11.33, 11.31 is showing the budget surplus, which is on page number 221. And 11.33 equation is shown on page number 224. If you subtract 11.31 from 11.33, you get budget surplus star minus budget surplus is equal to T within bracket Y star minus Y. So this difference arises because of income tax collection, which is outside the bracket small t. So when output is below full employment level, full employment surplus exceeds the actual surplus. On the other hand, when actual output exceeds the full employment output, then full employment surplus is less than the actual surplus. So the difference between the actual and full employment surplus is the cyclical component of the budget. When we have recession in the economy, that is, there is less demand in the economy, cyclical component tends to show a deficit because of less demand, because of less production. because of less value of income. And when there is a boom in the economy, there is more output and it will show a surplus.